I think we mixed you up pretty well at the tables today, so hopefully you met somebody new and made some new connections. I'd love to give special thanks this morning to our venue sponsor, Civic Center Place. It's so nice to be able to have a place that we have ample space for as many people as want to come and great parking. So thank you to VenueWorks at Civic Center Place. Also want to thank our breakfast sponsor this morning, 730 Eddy Studios. We've had an opportunity to meet this team recently and do some work with them. We were so incredibly impressed, and I think this video might show you why we think so. Take a look.
We're 730 Eddy Studios, a full-service video production company. From concept to completion, our company is here for your in-house video production solution. We focus on content that converts. Meet the crew. Here's Sue and Bree. They're the best on-demand planning wizards and here for our clients 24/7. Next up is Andy, the boss and CEO, cinematographer, editor, app developer, marketing guru, client relations, drone pilot, world traveler, Lego enthusiast. He also likes scooters. This is Dane. Quality is his strong suit.
Train like Dane. Or remain the same.
Meet Kevin. He likes to get creative on set. You may hear him giggle.
No.
This is Austin.
Striking.
He fills many roles on set, edits, and is also a connoisseur of chicken tendies. This is Ethan. He's new. Eric, our lead editor, makes footage look outstanding. And this is Nick. He makes sure our videos sound amazing. They have the scale and flexibility to deliver some outstanding edits, and some pretty funny memes. We love what we do. We love innovating. It's the smart thing to do. We love creating for our clients. We are 730 Eddy.
Please join me in thanking 730 Eddy for their support today. Their generosity is extended. They also have a very generous gift certificate to one lucky winner today. So without further ado, let's see who the random winner is. Kurt DeYoung. Congratulations, Kurt. We'll get that gift certificate to you. It is now my pleasure to introduce today's speaker. Last night we had the opportunity to spend a little time with Brad Waid as he came into town early for today's event. What an awesome opportunity to learn about the passion that he has for today's topic. Brad started out as a third grade teacher, went to a conference about this very topic, and became incredibly inspired. And he translated that into the classroom and saw engagement just grow with these students. And from there, things have really taken off. Right now, Brad works as a consultant to industry, education, and government. And he's often called on to assist in marketing and telling the story of a product or company. As a consultant to startups from Silicon Valley to New York, Brad has a unique perspective on the evolution of the tech landscape. Please join me in giving a warm West Michigan welcome to Brad Waid.
Good morning. Thank you. All right. Good morning, Michigan. How is everybody today? Good. It's nice to see you bright and early this morning. First of all, I'd like to say thank you. Let's give a round of applause and a welcome to the Chamber of Commerce and the entire team that brought us in today and all the sponsors. Thank you so much. Wonderful. Well, it's so nice to be here with you today. And as you heard, my name is Brad Waid. I am a Michigander, so I am actually from Michigan. I don't get to work in Michigan that often, so when I do, I feel very privileged. So today what we're going to be talking about is Through the Looking Glass, a peek into XR. Now we're going to look a little bit more into that, but this is we are on a little bit of a short time frame, so I'm going to try to get as much in here, just pique your interest and give you a little insight. So what I'd like to do is I'm going to give you a little bit about the technology, and then what I'm going to tell you a little bit is about how you can look at leveraging it in your business, in your industry, and why you should be thinking about it if you're not already doing it. All right, so this is my contact information. So I know you heard that there is information about me in the magazine, but if you like any more information, you can just take a picture of this. Connect with me wherever you like. I am out there on social media. Wherever you are comfortable, please connect with me as well. Here's the hashtag today. So if you would like to share anything on any social media, please use this, Think Big, Be Great 2020. I love that. And here are all the different places that you can share, and we try to meet you where you are. So let's just do a quick poll of the room. Raise your hand if you are on Facebook. Look at that. That is a large group. Not too surprised. Well, anybody on LinkedIn? LinkedIn. Actually, that's about the same. That's about even there. I love that. Okay, let's look at anybody on Twitter? Got some Twitter people here. Instagram? All right, anybody ever use YouTube for anything? Of course, right? Anybody ever use it for a tutorial? Yeah, exactly. All right, and then anybody on Snapchat out there? All right, okay. So good. So wherever you are comfortable, if there's anything that you want to share, please share it out there today. All right, so what we're going to look at, the genesis of extended reality. XR is extended reality. XR is really the umbrella. It's really the umbrella of augmented, virtual, and mixed reality. And let's do a quick poll here. How many are familiar with the phrase augmented reality? Okay. How many of you, and let's just be honest, how many of you know exactly what that means? How many of you are unsure? Excellent. Okay, let's go to VR. Raise your hand if you're familiar with virtual reality. Okay. How many of you had a chance to use it? Anybody use it today? All right, we had some people. Well, you've got a great company here that does all this, so thank you to you guys. All right, now mixed reality. Anybody, how many raise your hand if you've heard what it is? You heard the word. Okay, now how many of you are not sure what it is? Now, that's good, because the thing is we're going to go through these, but we're not going to limit ourselves to just these three. This is where we're going to do a little bit of a deep dive, but we're going to also throw two different additional ones in there, machine learning and artificial intelligence. All right, now let me ask you this, machine learning, how many are familiar with that phrase? Okay, artificial intelligence? All right, now here's something very interesting. Let's take a look at those 5 technologies just by name. AR, VR, MR, machine learning, ML, and AI, artificial intelligence. A lot of letters there. Now the thing is I would guess that in this room, most of us are familiar by name and what it is familiar with virtual reality. That seems to be the biggest number. But the reality is everybody in this room is affected by machine learning and artificial intelligence more on a daily basis than you even realize. There's so much AI going on in the background. It's interesting. I'll do a little check here in a little bit, and I'll show you how that's true. Okay, so let's take a quick look. Augmented reality. So augmented reality is when you're using a device like a phone or a tablet, and you have it out, and when you scan the room, or either whether it's a target or just information, you have digital information appear in front of you, as you can see here. This is looking at a machine, and it's getting digital information. You're using a tablet or a mobile device, and you can still see the world around you, digital information. That's augmented reality, or AR. Virtual reality. Most of you are familiar with that. You have a headset on, and you are truly immersed into a situation and environment. No feedback to the real world. So you are in a virtual world. Now, mixed reality is a little different. This is where you're using something like a wearable device. This one happens to be a Microsoft HoloLens, and I'll show you another one in just a moment. But this is kind of mixed reality. This is your hands are free, you're wearing a device, and you're getting augmented information. All right? Now, XR, machine learning, and AI is all part of a bigger system, and it's called Industry 4.0. How many of you have heard that phrase before? All right, it's going around, and it's a phrase that people have really heard. Now, the thing is Raise your hand if you're not quite sure what it really is yet. Let's be honest, because this is where most of the hands go up wherever I go. Now, the thing is we hear Industry 4.0, and we hear people talking about it. We don't say much because we think, man, we really should know what it means. So we don't ask questions or say much. Industry 4.0 is the fourth revolution in industry. Just a quick little thing. Smart factories, smart business. Here, let's look at, the first one was the Industrial Revolution, okay? The second one was in the early 1900s. Think about when the assembly line came into manufacturing. That was considered the second revolution. Third, think about the 70s and 80s when computers came in. So if you think about it, if you really dig in the research, around 1985 was the first true industrial computer, okay? So that was the third one, using computers in industry. And the fourth one is now, it's really being connected. All of our systems being connected, okay? Smart devices. That's part of the bigger picture that we're talking about. All right, it's time for game show. All right. Is it working now? Okay. All right. We're going to go from Britney Spears to game show. All right. Here we go. All right. So let's take a look. This is part of a bigger system now. But let's get into it right now. These are some of the bigger things in Industry 4.0. We're going to just stick with the AR, VR, MR, and then do a little bit of AI. Okay, so where is it used? So let's take a look at the industries that are using all of these technologies. Okay, so manufacturing, that makes sense. All right, banking and finance, construction, training, we're going to look at that in just a moment. Medical and healthcare, automotive, power utilities, agriculture, aerospace and aviation, transportation, logistics. Look, it's pretty much used everywhere. I think you can see just about every industry is using it. All right, so how do you deliver it? Well, here's the first way, mobile. How many of you have a phone? Right, okay, yeah, you're like, Brad, that makes no sense. Why are you asking? Of course. Well, here's the thing. Everybody has a phone here. Okay, everybody has a phone, and there are 4.76 billion smartphones out there. Look, there's only about 8 billion people. That's over 50% of the population in the world. Over 4.7 billion smartphones. Okay, think about that power that is here now, that everybody has. That's a big reason to be thinking about why we should be doing this, because everybody has it. I've got mine in my pocket right now. Okay, what else? You can deliver it via tablet. Now, we already know smartphones are everywhere. Tablets, it's over 190 million in the U.S. alone. Now, tablets are really being used in the business and the workplace already as well, especially on the manufacturing floor. Okay, here's what we talked about just a moment ago, HMDs. That's a head-mounted display. This is what you use for virtual reality. We're going to get into where you would use that in just a moment. All right, and these are the mixed reality displays. All right, over here on the left, anybody know which one that is? Anybody want to yell out which company that is? Magic Leap. Yep, so this is Magic Leap right here. This is Magic Leap, and this is Microsoft HoloLens. Now, if you're not familiar with, how many of you are familiar with either of those? Okay, let me ask you this. How many of you are not familiar with them? Okay, good. All right, here we go. This is where I like to find out where everybody is so I can see where I spend my time. Now, here's the interesting thing about these mixed reality displays. So let's just take a look at the Microsoft HoloLens on the left side. Now, the thing is with Microsoft HoloLens, when you're wearing this, it also starts recognizing your hands kind of as a tool, as a mouse. So think about this. So you remember in some of the pictures where we have digital information. Now you can put on this headset, and all of a sudden you can have digital information out across this room. If I was wearing it right now, I could get digital information out across the room. Now, if there's a digital asset that's out here in front of me, all of a sudden I can grab my hand, and I could use gestures like pinching gestures and everything else, just like I would on the computer, on a touch screen or whatever. And it's actually tracking my hands, and it's actually manipulating the data. How many of you think that's pretty cool? Right? All right, so this is where next things are going. Now, there are pros and cons to all of this. One, you're wearing a device. Two, not everybody has them. So we're going to go into a little bit more as we go farther down on where does it make sense for you as a business owner, for you as somebody that's in management or an executive. Where does it make sense for you, and which technology should you apply and use in your industry? How many of you want to know that? Right? Of course. Brad, which one should I be using in my industry? We're going to try to figure that out as best we can in this short amount of time. All right, here's another one. Anybody know who that character is on the left side? From Star Wars? Boba Fett? Okay. Or The Mandalorian? Any Disney Plus fans out there? Right? Okay. Now, the thing is this is a head-mounted tablet. This is kind of a new product, a new area in hardware. So what this is you can tell it looks like the headsets that the coaches wear on the NFL on the sidelines, right? You guys see that? Now, the difference here is that piece right there is not a microphone. Right below the eye, that is a computer screen. Now, what's really interesting here is I'll just kind of give you the genesis of where this hardware is coming in and where it's making a big impact. Now, the thing is now if you're in any industry where it's maybe dangerous or it's a lot safer to obviously have your hands free. So what happened here was places that were using a tablet like an iPad or an Android tablet, and then they realized, man, our workers are in a situation where they have to hold a tablet, but it would sure be nicer and safer if they had both hands. So what they started doing is some companies started making this hardware to where all of a sudden now they basically put this tablet and said you can wear it on your head. So now it's all voice activated. So what you do now is your hands free, it's voice activated, and then the nice thing is that screen right there, you can have, looks like a 7-inch screen, it's right below the horizon. Now the thing is just like the other devices, it can provide digital information on machines. So here's a use case scenario, and I think this will sell the power. So let's say there's a young worker who's now working in, let's just say, the HVAC industry. Goes out to a company, looks at a machine, it's an older machine, doesn't know what this machine is, doesn't have that experience or that information. Now there's something called remote expert or something like that, where now this worker who's wearing that can be looking at that machine, can call back at the call center and say, hey, I'm looking at a machine here, I'm not familiar with it, and give them the number. All of a sudden what they can do is they can say, oh, let's get Steve. Steve retired 2 years ago, but he was with us for 40 years. He knows that machine. All of a sudden Steve can come in, Steve can link in like a FaceTime video or a Hangout and can see everything this worker's looking at and can talk through this worker what's going on. What's absolutely amazing is Steve, the guy who's coming in, can actually draw and annotate on his screen in real time. Say, all right, John, look at that. You see that lever right there? He circles the lever. Yeah, you need to grab that, and that's where you start. How many think that's a pretty cool use of technology? Yeah, and this is just the beginning. And for every piece of technology that we have on here, I can give you another story and another scenario. But let's move on. All right, so how is it used? So you're thinking about your own industry. How can I use this? So here are your choices. You have the option of like a mobile device. Like, okay, maybe you're in a situation where you have a lot of customers. So maybe your mobile phone is where you need to go. Maybe you're in a manufacturing or a plant, something like that, where maybe a tablet comes in. Let's take a look at how it's used in a lot of different industries. All right, so design and development. So Ford is using this as just one example, and you can use this you can put this into any of your own industries, using something like this for design, development, prototyping. Okay? We still do things the old-fashioned way, which is great, and we need that skill. But now, anybody ever heard anything called rapid prototyping? Yeah, okay, so I mean, based on your own business, the expectation is you bring things to market a lot faster, and you have to pivot quickly to keep your customers happy. How many of you agree with that? Yeah. things that are, time is different than it used to be. What used to be okay, it's like maybe something in a week now has to be in a day, or something that was 90 days now has to be turned around in 30 days. Okay, it's all these things are going to help us with things like that. Okay, so here we go. Design and development, manufacturing, workflow. Now, how many of you are familiar with workflow? That phrase. About half, maybe. Okay, so workflow, a lot of it is when maybe you're looking at training or you're doing quality control, somebody goes in, they scan a system, okay, and you can say anything that has a process. Anything that has a process. If you have a process where you have to go through a system, okay, something like this, whether it's this or a head-mounted, you start at the beginning of a system and you follow the process. You go through and you check everything. It's like it's a systems and checks. You go in and say, okay, it's reading all the gauges, it's getting all the information back from all the systems. All of a sudden, boom, you're like, okay, yep, this is okay. Boom, check. And you can give feedback to the system that, yep, this is okay. And then you move on. This is okay. Yep, this is safe. That's what a workflow is. All right, quality control. This is another company. Okay, now here's a big one. All right, so in virtual reality, outside of gaming, okay, so let's look at it in the business and industry area. Anything that is either not safe or dangerous, I'll say it. Anything that's dangerous or expensive is a very good place to look at using virtual reality. So right here, this one happens to be a simulator this gentleman is in. He's learning on, this is the de-icer, on the planes, which we're familiar with here in Michigan. Okay, so this is operating a big machine. All right, this one, now, how many of you remember the first time you got into a virtual reality environment? Yeah, right? You know where I'm going here. Now, the thing is VR is so powerful. If you have not used it yet, you should really take a chance and you should try it sometime. Because virtual reality is so powerful. Now, right here, this is a worker. You can see in real life, over here, he's on just a beam that's just a few inches off the ground. But what he's looking at is he's probably, 6, 7 stories above the city working. Now, the thing is VR is so powerful. Even though you know that you are in a simulated environment, it's amazing what your brain will believe and accept. I'll tell you this, the very first time I went into a VR environment, I was working with an agency in Detroit. This was a few years ago. Now, I went in and they started me off easy. I went into a paint program, all the normal stuff, and it was great. And then they took me into an automotive program where I could check out the engine, I could blow it up and expand it and play with the parts. And then I was going on and it was getting better and better. Anybody familiar with the movie The Matrix, the series, right? Okay, I'll tell you, I felt like Neo in The Matrix because they just kept feeding me program after program. And they said, all right, are you ready for a new one? I said, yes. They said, now, I hope you're okay at this. Are you ready? Because some people haven't been able to handle it. I said, yeah, why not? He goes, because there's no floor. I said, oh, okay, all right. So I said, yeah, feed me, bring me in. So I'd already been doing this for probably 45 minutes or so. All of a sudden, they put me in this environment. All of a sudden, I look out. I'm like in the universe, in the cosmos. And there is no floor. I'm out in space. I see planets. I see galaxies. Now, I have to tell you, I'm educated, I believe I'm semi-intelligent, and yet I know I'm on like the 7th floor of this building. I know I'm standing in a room, I remember walking in, I remember the towers around me and everything. I remember where I was, but I knew all of a sudden I'm in space, and my brain was like, yeah, go for it. And it was so amazing, because even though I knew I was in a room, standing on a floor, my brain accepted it and believed that I will go do this. The reason why I bring that up is because that is why this training is so incredible. Because really, I'll tell you, if you even just go and look and Google and go on YouTube and stuff, you can look at VR trainings. You can see people who are like, they'll fall off these 1-inch platforms, and you will hear them scream. They really think like they're, even though they know, they went in, they signed the waiver. They went in and got on this system, and they're training and doing these simulations, and they're 1 inch off the ground. When they fall off because they slipped, you hear them absolutely screaming because they believe they fell off a 60-foot building. How many think that's pretty wild? Now it is. Now the thing is the reason why I bring this up is there's so much power in this technology. All right, here are some gentlemen who are going through a machine learning how to use this engine. I'm going to move forward just a little bit here. See if we can, how are we doing on time? What we got? 8 minutes. See, I told you I'd be good. All right. Okay. All right, so the thing is so now you can use it in marketing and sales. All right? And then consumer engagement. That is one of the biggest things as well. Okay? Now, the thing is I'll just go to this next slide. Why should I be using it? Here's the big reason why everybody should be using it. Because your customers and your employees are already there. Okay? The reality is I showed you the statistics. And I'll tell you, one of the things, I was at dinner last night. We had a nice little dinner, and I was able to meet a bunch of incredible, wonderful people. Now, I will tell you this, and I said this to them last night. One of the things I was most amazed with and impressed with was how many businesses were already doing things that I said 5 years ago, I wouldn't have heard these conversations. But this group is already really forward thinking, because here's the reality of it. We all have phones. We all are ready for this technology. The difference is who's using this technology now and starting to think and put it on their roadmap on how to keep your customers engaged, keep your employees happy, but also really it's like, what problems are you solving inside your own company? Okay? So really at the root of all of this technology adoption, it has to come down to what are we improving? What problem are we solving? Because if you're adopting technology for the sake of adopting technology, you're just wasting money and time. Period. Okay? 3 years ago, at the end of the year, everybody had money. Let's build an app. Let's build an app. I've got $10,000. Let's build an app. And man, apps are being built everywhere. But people just weren't sure, how are we going to use this? What is our implementation? Why are we doing this? Now, again, it's all just learning what this new technology is and how we adopt it. So when you go back and you think about your own industry, your own situation, so if you're a retail or a consumer industry, so you need to think about your customers, okay? What can we be doing to make our customer experience even better? What can we do? Maybe time is an issue. You know, maybe we're trying to figure out how to make any process faster, okay? And that's where, you know, using a mobile device is very good because everybody has one. If you're in industry, you're trying to figure out, well, okay, so how do we streamline a certain process? How do we extract data and information? Because if you're in manufacturing or an industry like that, all of your machines are putting out amazing amounts of data, okay? You have so much data. It's like, what do we do with that data? You know, it's called big data, mining big data. That's a whole nother rabbit hole that we won't go down today, but you can. So really what I would really push you to think about is like, here are the, I'll use these five. I'll use these five. What I would really push back on you today to be introspective and think about, say, all right, if I go back to my workplace and I look around, I would say, okay, what are the 3 things that I would really like to see an improvement? Customer experience, you know, quality increase, you know, time, anything like that. And then go, all right, so what can I do? We already know, like, what's the best way to adopt it? Is it mobile? Is it tablet? What is it? Is it a virtual reality environment? And then start thinking about, how would I go about that? How would I use it? Is it augmented, virtual, mixed? Something like that, because really at the end of the day, I hope you can go back and think about, all right, this is my environment, something that Brad talked about. Let's explore this. Because if you can just go back and make one small change when you go back, that's a good place to start. Really, it's a great thing to do is go back and start. Now, so I think 3 minutes? Okay, perfect. Okay, well actually I'm going to stop right there because I know we have a few minutes for Q&A, correct? Yes, we had two, but Britney Spears died on me.
Okay. So, who has the first question for Brad this morning?
I gave you a lot to think about. And again, I could go for another hour on any one of these individuals. So I tried to paint a pretty broad picture of the 5 technologies, AR, VR, MR, machine learning, and artificial intelligence as well. So those are on the table as well. Okay? Yes, any questions out there? You can also talk to me after, connect with me. But yes, we got one in the back. Way in the back. Is there one I'm using right now? In which I use a little bit of everything. I'm not tied to one individual type of program or software, because what I do is I go in when I work with companies, I try to see what their best need is. There's usually 3 or 4 options in every area in AR, VR, or whatever. So there are a lot of good ones. I'm not, married to any single one of them, but there are a lot of great ones out there. So I don't know if that answered it, but yes, another question. Yes, the maroon. What's next? There's a lot of what's next. I'll tell you. A lot of what's next is autonomous robots. Not only just autonomous vehicles, but autonomous robots. And there are a handful of people in this room already have them in their industry, but most of us don't realize they really already exist. I have a video that I cut up for sake of time today, but really it's a glimpse into. It's a wonderful video because it shows things that are happening today, right now, that most of us have never seen. And one of the biggest things is autonomous vehicles, but there's also 3D printing on such a large scale. 5 years ago it was just plastic. Now, we had a discussion last night, there are actually 3D printers that will print in concrete and make buildings right now. And you can make a small building in 24 hours now. You really can. You can 3D print a building, a home, a physical building now. You can do it with, organic. You can print with organic, material now. So what's next? Autonomous vehicles, autonomous robots, 3D printing. And the nice thing is, think about just the simple idea. 5, 6 years ago when 3D printers came out, it was really just plastic. And people started thinking, wow, what can we use material? What material can we use? And we started changing material. Then we said, well, let's make it bigger. And look what happened in just a short amount of time. So things like that are really coming. The drone and scaling up the drone is really amazing. I remember when people, at home were starting to build like drones, see if they could carry a human. Well, yeah, that's ramped up, and there's actually a drone taxi service in the Middle East that's trying to get off the ground right now. Autonomous drone taxi service. From building to building. So think about that. You talk about a leap of faith. We're wondering if we're going to get into an autonomous car. Can you imagine being the first person getting an autonomous drone, taxi, Uber with no driver? Okay, so a lot of amazing things coming, and we're just accelerating so fast. It's really an exciting time. The trick is trying to isolate and figure out what you can do as an individual and as a company. Because there's so many amazing things, but just to adopt one, to adopt it, is probably the wrong plan. It's using something, identify a need, a problem that you want to, or something to streamline, and then picking the right technology and how you deliver it. But so many exciting things coming. Yes, other questions? Yes. Currently, sector that's going to be affected most. Well, medical is making the fastest gains right now, in my opinion, because they also have the money. They have the money and the resources because, when you've got the medical industry that, the reward is super high because it's taking care of humans and it's hundreds of billions of dollars. That's probably the fastest growth right now, but where I see the biggest growth in a sense is probably in the whole manufacturing process, because we're going from, I hate to say this phrase, but like dumb machines. They weren't really dumb, but they just weren't really connected. So we can instantly just start connecting machines, and we're improving our whole system pretty rapidly. So there's just a huge amount of growth, and then anything in the consumer market where we can just leverage a mobile device. There's all kinds of industries, but those are the ones that come to mind right away. Other questions? Yes, right there in the turquoise blazer. Yeah, like they can fight all they want. But the nice thing is there are plenty of companies like 730 Eddie. Is it Eddie? Yeah, right. Like that really just kind of like they can help figure out what's the best solution. Like whether it's Apple's trying to really get into the smart glasses, and I think they're going to be successful. Microsoft HoloLens really has a pretty good mixed reality device. But the reality is like when in the mobile phones, you can use AR Core or whatever. They're all ready. So I don't know. Like I'm an Apple guy, but I'm okay with Microsoft and everything. I don't think their argument or anything really impacts us that much at all. Like they can fight and argue over that, but we have plenty of solutions available, and we can adopt the right thing now pretty easily. So yes. Other questions? Yes, in the back right there, in the rose colored. Yes. Have I ever worked in the textile industry? The closest I ever got were just some samples of textiles that were being made in in augmented reality as samples. But I have not done much in the textile. Do you have a specific question or just yes? Yes. Yeah, no, that's a good question. And I don't have the exact answer right now that I can give you in the next 30 seconds, but I'll tell you it is coming. It is coming because that's a next step. So like you said, that missing link is starting to come, and it's just a matter of figuring out what's the best way to meet the demand at a scalable way that still makes sense in a business operation standing. So it's coming. But again, I can't answer it to you in the next 30 seconds, but that's a great question. I wish I had more for you. Other questions?
Next person, will you stand when you ask your question? It'll help us hear a little bit.
Yes, right here. Yeah, so the question was, if you're looking at in training, like onboarding new employees or something, right? What's the best way to look at, whether it's augmented, virtual, or mixed reality? Okay, so the first thing you want to do is take a look at what am I trying to accomplish? Like, what is my need? Well, Brad, my need is for them to be able to understand all the machines in the office or something like that. That's probably not a virtual reality. You probably don't need that. It's probably more of an augmented reality. The easiest place to start is an augmented reality application. So I usually tell people to start there because that's going to be the easiest entry point. You can test that pretty quickly. Everybody has a phone, so it might be about getting an app developed or having a dedicated tablet to it. So trying to figure out well, one, how many people am I talking about onboarding? What is the job? Now, if I keep forgetting which microphone, which job? Now, if it's the job okay, I'm teaching them how to operate a $2 million crane. Well, that's more of like a virtual reality environment, okay? Because it's expensive and it's a big machine, anything like that. But I just say test AR first and see what it is. And you can probably just do some quick research or just shoot me an email. I'll kind of give you, if you have a question like that, I can easily give you a recommendation on that. So, all right, yes, other questions? Yes, right here. Yes, so what we're finding out, and you're right, because VR is actually showing that it's training people a little faster and quicker, and they're retaining it better. But a lot of that comes down to like muscle memory. If you think about the military and the Department of Defense, they started using VR to help soldiers with muscle memory and training. And really, if that's what you're really talking about, is if you're using VR in that kind of environment, you're really incorporating all of the muscles and everything, the entire body. So you're already getting that person primed to it. Now, it doesn't replace traditional, but what it does is it prepares them faster. Think about something even like welding programs, okay? Because even at the end of the day, you can teach somebody how to weld virtually, but what you're doing, you're just prepping them to get them in a better place to where when they get on the real welding system or when they get in the real crane, that they're already in a better position. And you've knocked out some of the risk involved. You're still going to put them through the regular training. Now, here's a rabbit hole we'll go down real quick, that over in Asia, in the Malaysia area, there is an absence of a lot of heavy machine operators. And now with 5G and really good dedicated internet and backbone, there's actually a demand for workers here who are operated on very specific heavy machines that can actually remotely use these machines halfway around the world, which is incredible. So just another little rabbit hole, but VR doesn't replace traditional training, it ramps us up faster. It cuts down the onboarding time or the training process, which ultimately ends up saving a business a lot of money. So, great question. I know we're about out of time. I could do this all day too.
We'll do one more question.
One more question. Who has the lucky last hand that's going up? Come on, one more hand. There it is, right there. Yes. So like a campground type, so like something outdoors, so maybe on the front end. Yeah, because, okay, so yeah, you're talking about in an environment where you typically wouldn't encourage people to be using technology. So how would you use it maybe on the front end, right? Okay, so maybe it's more of like the advertising and marketing part of it. Now, like Carnival, I think it's Carnival Cruise Lines. Now you can scan like a brochure and you actually, boom, you're on the ship. Something like that. So on the front end, to reach out to get people to come in, and then once they're there, then you can do like a welcome or introduction or redeem anything. But then of course, then when they're there, you encourage them not to use technology. So technology is a great way to go out and let people know what you have, let you know what you're doing, share what you're doing, give them an insight. Technology really allows us to travel somewhere where we've never been. And that's a great example because, like you probably have your regulars coming back to your campground, but you want those new people. Well, how do they know about you? Maybe they don't even know about you. So maybe you can reach out and leverage technology to bring them in, show them how beautiful it is, let them walk around, let them see the trails, let them see the amenities. Boom, all of a sudden you've got a new potential customer who's never been there, but technology allows them to get there. And when they're there, technology's off. There you go. All right. That was awesome. Thank you.
Please join me in thanking Brad.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much.